Pismo Beach is known today for its surf culture, its downtown, and even though they haven't been legal to dig for years, its clams.
Well, here we are, Pismo Beach, and all the clams we can eat.
The little mollusk was here long before the city and was once plentiful before the turn of the century. Chumash artifacts indicate they loved the clams, and the diaries of the old California rancheros tell stories of them heading to the beach to dig. Kids of longtime local farmers tell stories of harvesting clams by the wagon load. The township began in 1842 when a man named Jose Ortega received a Mexican land grant. By 1850, Juan Miguel Price, or Uncle Johnny, purchased the 8,000-acre Pismo Ranch and laid out what would later become the city of Pismo Beach.
So John Price owned all this. He owned from the Spyglass Ravine to almost where Walmart is today. He started subdividing in 1880. In 1887, he sold Grover to D.W. Grover, and he also gave 6 parcels in Shell Beach to his elder daughters.
The city of Pismo Beach got its official start in 1923 with the blessing of the Postal Service, but things were happening here long before the turn of the century.
But first it was a wharf and a warehouse and a little hotel that simply served the wharf.
But early on, Pismo invested in tourism by putting in a Ferris wheel, less than a year after the first was invented for the World's Fair in Chicago. But we had more than one Ferris wheel.
Yes, we had at least 4 that I know of. We had the one that's famous in the pictures with the wharf in the background. Then some old maps show one on Cypress Street in the block south of the pier. Then we have pictures of one on Pomeroy that we can see about where the Rose Garden Ballroom was in that area. And then there's the one that we all remember, which was on Cypress Street, where the pier parking lot is, and the inn at the pier is built there today. Then it was the El Pismo Inn, which was a destination in itself. And then in 1924, when Mr. Ward came to town, and he built the pier, that just was an incredible boom because the pier coincided with the highway coming in, automobile traffic coming in.
In 1927, a large indoor heated saltwater plunge was built adjacent to the inn. And guess what? The pool is still there, right below these 2 restaurants and those shops. Without water, of course. And we got to check it out. So, that's the tile from the pool.
Okay, well, we're in the deep end of the old plunge that's on Pomeroy Street in Pismo Beach. And you can see the tile edge, and that was the deck up there. And then over on that side, there was a mezzanine where you could go upstairs and look down into the pool.
It took water from the ocean into heating mechanisms that still exist below Wooley's restaurant. So this is the old water tank and the filtration system, so proof there really was a pool. It was a hot spot until the end of World War II.
So we don't know just when it was converted, but by World War II, someone put a wooden floor over the pool and turned it into a skating rink.
A lot of people remember the grand old Rose Garden Ballroom just behind the old plunge. It was built in 1946 and lasted into the 70s. The old sign is where Poncho's Surf Shop sign is today. A lot has changed in Pismo over the years, and there are some interesting stories about its past.
During Prohibition, the king of the bootleggers lived in Shell Beach, and his name was O.T. Buck. He is well known for having supplied booze to William Randolph Hearst, for making runs over to the San Joaquin Valley. It was openly known that there were houses of ill repute in Pismo. In fact, in 1930 on the census, when people listed their occupations, there were listings of madams and prostitutes, and in a number of cases, clam diggers. They worked for clam digging for a living.
Where McClintock's is today was once Maddie's Tavern. Is it true that there's some tunnel from Maddie's down to where Maddie lived at the end of Placentia, right on Ocean Drive?
Well, some towns have their ghost stories, and Pismo Beach has its tunnel stories. I've heard rumors of about 3 tunnels, and no, none of them ever existed.
One thing is certain, as Pismo continues to grow and change, there is a deep appreciation for the roots of this place, even the rough edges of the tails. And though you may not be able to wiggle your toes in the sand and stumble upon a large Pismo clam anymore, they too are coming back.
Pismo has changed a number of times, and each time for the better.
That's my Pismo Beach, then, now, and for years to come.